guys, so today I'm going to be doing a concert review. Last week I got to see Todd Rundgren in concert. I've been a fan of Todd for years, so this was really exciting for me. And I got my boyfriend into him too by playing his music for him, and he really liked it, so we were both really excited to go. So the show was in Portland at a venue I had never been to called The Aura, and it's fairly new. I think it's like a year or two old, really. And we went in and it was super nice. It was small, intimate. There were 2 bars and like kind of like a balcony and then some floor seats and then like slightly more elevated seats. And we were in the elevated seats and we like literally had the best seats, in my opinion, in the house. Like, we were eye level with the band and I was like right in the middle. So the first act was actually a comedian, which I've never seen at a concert before. It was different. I mean, the name of this tour that Todd is on is An Unpredictable Evening with Todd Rundgren. So, and it was just that. It was completely unexpected. Didn't know what you were really signing up for except seeing Todd Rundgren and his band. So basically, he did a lot of his own songs, but he did a lot of covers too. At one point in the show, he did a cover of a Big Bopper song, and afterwards he was just kind of talking to the audience and said, "It's nice to see younger people who probably have no idea who the Big Bopper is." And when he said that, he looked at me, or I thought he was looking at me, and I was like, oh, way to assume I don't know who the Big Bopper is. And he said, "Here's a song that you won't know or that you won't remember. You're too young to remember." I don't know how he worded it, but he pointed right at me. And I was like, oh my God. And so he proceeded to play Chantilly Lace by the Big Bopper, which is my favorite song that the Big Bopper does. I know all the lyrics to it. I sang along. And I think it caught him by surprise because after the song he was laughing and said, "Wow." And he's like, "Well, let's see if you know the next one." And he did a cover of the Proclaimers' "I Would Walk 500 Miles, which is another song that I love and I know all the lyrics to, and I sang that too. And it was almost like he tried to test me, I guess, because I was one of the very few younger people in the audience. And I passed with flying colors, so that was kind of cool, and I was kind of like a little bit in awe. I was like, oh my gosh, he singled me out in front of everyone, and I could kind of like feel like other people's eyes on me when that was happening. Like, I could feel people kind of like craning their neck to look at me, so it was just very like, I'm not used to that at all, so it was kind of cool. So he did a few of his own songs. He did like kind of like a jazzy version of I Saw the Light. It was very different, but it was so cool. I really loved it. And he did several covers, including Strawberry Alarm Clock, and I love them. And there was one song where the keyboardist, who I didn't know who he really was, but he was amazing. And he was just kind of like doing his own solo on the keyboard, and I was like, oh my God. I was looking at my boyfriend, I'm like, he is so good. And then afterwards we found out that he used to play the keyboard for the Cars, and I love the Cars. That's the reason why they're on the wall there. And that kind of blew me away, because I was like, oh my God, we just saw, one of the former members of the Cars. That's really cool. And I had no idea until after the show who he was. But anyway, they sounded fantastic. They sounded so good. His voice still holds up really well, and his guitar skills are just crazy, as they always have been. And the whole band just sounded really good together. And I honestly, I haven't really dwelled deep into Utopia's music. I'm just kind of like a fan of Todd's solo stuff in like the 70s. That's the only stuff I'm kind of familiar with. I love this album. If you haven't listened to it, it's solid throughout. It's very creative. I mean, his most popular song is like Hello, It's Me, which everybody has heard on the radio, even if you're like, oh, well, that doesn't ring a bell. You've probably heard it. You know, a lot of hits are off this album, but a lot of like really interesting, like out there songs are on there too. And it's just a really fun album to listen to. So after the show, I was really determined to try and meet Todd. I didn't know what my chances were. I was beginning to feel a little discouraged because nobody was really, or not a lot of people were waiting around. There was a few, and I was like, oh, like what if he doesn't come out? Like what if we wait forever and he doesn't even show up? But we ran into this lady that came up to us and was like, oh, it's so great to see, you know, younger people at a Todd concert. She's like, that's so great, you've got good taste. And we kind of talked with her a bit. She was a huge Todd fan. She said she's met him several times, and we talked to her after the show, and she's like, are you gonna stay around and meet Todd? And I was like, you know, we'd like to, it's just, you know, we don't know where to go, we don't know how long we should wait. And she's like, oh, well, come with me and we'll meet him. She's like, he usually kind of takes a while. And so we're like, all right, this lady seems to know what she's talking about. So we waited around with her. We went like to the back of the venue and saw that the roadies were like filling up the vans and stuff with the equipment. And we waited around with like a few other people. And so it wasn't really, it was like maybe an hour after the concert ended that he came out and he was there, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I wonder if he's gonna come over and say hi. And so he put stuff in his car and came back around, and I was like, yes, like I'm gonna get to meet him, this is crazy. And he was singing Woodstock, which was funny, by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And I love that song. And so I thought that was kind of funny. I think he had a few drinks on stage. He had a couple martinis, so I think he was feeling pretty good. And so, you know, this couple came over and was, you know, getting pictures and having him sign everything. And I really regret not bringing this for him to sign because he was signing stuff. And I feel awkward bringing stuff to a concert. I try to just only bring like my ID and money, and that's it, because I don't want to lose anything. And so it finally came to my turn, and I didn't have anything for him to sign, but I had my phone to get a picture. And so I locked eyes with him, and I was like, oh my gosh, here he is. And I said, can I get a picture with you, Todd? And he said, sure. And he kind of went like this, and he was like, I love your dots underneath your eyes. When I did my makeup, I did like black dots underneath my eyes just because I like to do weird stuff like that sometimes. And I almost didn't do it, and I told him that. I was like, I don't know, I thought maybe it was a bit much. And he's like, oh, no, it's really cool. And so I was like kind of swooning. I was like, oh my God, he loves it. And so I got a picture with him, and my boyfriend got a picture with him too. One of the guys volunteered to take a picture. It was really nice of him. And I squeezed Todd's hand, and he squeezed it back, and I was like, oh my God. So that was awesome, and we got the picture, and it came out really nice. I didn't like want to talk his ear off, even though I really wanted to. He was just already getting swamped by so many people that I feel like I was totally satisfied with a picture, and a compliment from him was totally fine with me. So it was like pretty much a perfect concert experience. It's definitely in my top 5, just because the venue was great, the fans were great. You know, very few people had their phones out, and when they did, it was only for a short time. Like, I'm not opposed to people like taking a picture here and there, but when people have their phones out through the whole thing, it's like, are you even really enjoying the concert? Like, what are you doing? You know, most people don't really care that you're there. Like, some people think it's cool, but it's like, they're not gonna watch your whole story at a concert. They're just not gonna, they're not gonna care as much as you probably care. Sorry if that sounds harsh, but it's it's gotten out of hand, and I think people don't really know what they're doing when they're recording or taking pictures all the time. I think they just want to show everybody that they're having a good time, like people, and you know, they just care too much about what other people think. I mean, just enjoy the concert, you know, it's only for a short time anyway. So there was very few people with phones up, and that was really nice. I did hear a few of the fans say, you know, that's not like a typical Todd show. There was a lot of diehard fans there, and said, oh, well, he did a lot of covers. He didn't really do a lot of his own stuff. That's too bad. But I figured it wouldn't be like a typical Todd Rundgren show because it's called An Unpredictable Evening with Todd Rundgren. So I just kind of took it as it comes, and I just enjoyed it. So it didn't bother me. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it was a great experience. It couldn't have gone better. You know, I met Todd Rundgren. That's crazy. And so that is that. And my next concert is Franz Ferdinand. I've actually already seen them once in Boston, so I'm really excited to see them again. It's basically just like a big party. Their last concert. It's just that their music is so dancey anyway, and like most of the crowd was up dancing, and you know, at one point Alex, one of the members of the band said, you know, people who are sitting don't do that, stand up, you know, you gotta dance. So you got the whole like venue to dance and stuff, so it was so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to their next show. And then after that, I have tickets to see Of Montreal, which is really exciting. Never seen them before. I actually got them from my boyfriend because he's the big Of Montreal fan. He actually got me into them. So that'll be fun. And I do have an album review I'm working on right now. It's a little slow in the process because I want it to be perfect. It's a really interesting story. So I want to tell it right. So that is it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.